Welcome to Phonogenics 101, a Riotboy production hosted by Jeremy Gloff. The podcast where people who love music discuss albums track by track. Please hit subscribe, and if you'd like to support this podcast, patreon.com/Jeremy Gloff or Venmo @Jeremy Gloff. And now, on to the music. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Phonogenics 101. I am here with the ever-changing lineup of the Fleetwood Mac panel. Much like the band Fleetwood Mac in the early 70s, the lineup changed. Bob Weston almost made it to this podcast. Not Bob Weston himself, but the panelist, codename Bob Weston, but he was having an affair with Mick Fleetwood's wife, so he got kicked off the tour. All right.
We're like the Heroes lineup. We're just down to 4.
Yeah, we're the Heroes lineup.
Yeah.
or are we the fake Fleetwood Mac?
No, we ain't the flake.
All right. Well, here we are. We're still in 1973. Fleetwood Mac had 2 albums out in 1973. This is the second of 2. Mystery to Me. What the hell is this thing on the cover?
I think it's Mick Fleetwood in a different form.
Oh, really? Did you guys?
It's his inner ape.
Is that John McVie?
It could be.
I think that's Christine.
Oh, jeez. So it was 1980 something. It was early 80s. And I was flipping through the record bin at Record Giant, and I saw this on vinyl. I'm like,
Vinyl.
What is this? What is this album? I didn't know anything about Fleetwood Mac before Stevie Nicks and Christy McVie. But I bought the album when I took it home. Here's the vinyl. I also have it as part of this little box set here.
Mm.
And I also have the CD set with the little bonus tracks. So I bought this. I must have been 8 or 9 years old. I took it home. I opened it. I'm like, who the hell are these people? Like, there's Christine. We know Christine. Who's this weird, nerdy guy with the glasses? Who's this guy? That must be Mick. That's John. It really was a mystery to me, because I just did not. I was so surprised that there was more Fleetwood Mac than just Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham. And then the rest is history. I started finding out about more of the albums and started collecting them. Like I said, I was 8 or 9, and I've just been in love with the band ever since. So what's your guys' entryway into this album here? Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah. First, I'll go through the stats on this.
Sure.
It's the top of my page. Hope it doesn't break everything up. But the album was released October 15th, 1973. Bob Weston's last with the band, in which he contributed very little. Once again, it was recorded in Rolling Stone's mobile studio, as was Penguin. For Your Love was released as a single, and it didn't chart. The album peaked at number 67 on the U.S. charts, and it went gold with over 500,000 copies sold. I think it did that probably in the 80s. But it's funny that Bare Trees is it sold 1 million, and this one sold half that relatively. So Bare Trees got quite a following.
Interesting.
So that's pretty cool. One of the longer Fleetwood Mac albums at 47.5 minutes. And this, Rumors is at 39 minutes. And they told Stevie that there wasn't enough room for Silver Springs. No, they just didn't want Silver Springs on the record. So really, they fit 47 minutes of on a vinyl album back in the day before there was. I think tapes were the same way, where they had a limited amount. I think tapes were 80 minutes, or newer tapes. Newer tapes were 80. Mm-hmm. But there was plenty of room, I suppose. But that was sort of the controversy during Rumors. They may have Rumors. The original Rumors is fine. It's absolutely terrific. 39 minutes. but Silver Springs probably had hit potential or underground potential back then. But it wasn't to be. So I'm backing up Stevie here about the argument for Silver Springs, since this was 47 minutes and it was fine. So okay. This album was really my first exposure to Fleetwood Mac. I remember really liking Hypnotized. I really liked the music, the vocals, and the lyrics. I remember counting the drum cycles at the beginning. I think I heard it a lot on the bus going to school, back and forth from school. My uncle, he played rock music for us, and that was nice instead of whatever. But we had a great radio station called KKLS in Rapid City, South Dakota, and they played deeper tracks and stuff, and I was exposed to this. And let's see. And yeah, it was good. Yeah, I heard it a good number of times. And then also I heard For Your Love a few times on the radio too, but to a lesser extent. I remember maybe I was only heard it like a half dozen times, but I really remembered it. I thought the music on For Your Love was great, but I thought the lyric was kind of dated. A little misogyny there, like kind of like you're putting jewels out and you're getting the girl with the jewels, and it's a little bit, a bit dated in a way. Uh, let's see.
They didn't write that, Jim.
Yeah, I know that's a
Okay.
Yardbird song.
Yeah.
And I'll go on that later. Let's see the date, and it was. I got the full album years later, and I played it a lot, especially on earphones. I played this album a lot when I got it, especially the songs you're familiar with, but then incorporating the new discoveries. Just played it a lot. Really enjoyed it, and there we go. First exposure to Fleetwood Mac with some of this music.
All right.
So, and the rest is history.
Nick, I see you had your hand up, so we'll go to Nick and then to Tony.
So I will object to one point that was made, although I do appreciate all the other comments, even the one that I take umbrage with slightly. Bob Weston, in terms of his songwriting, he didn't contribute a whole lot, but in terms of his playing, he's pretty much all over. He did the slide intro for Why. A lot of the leads on that album are his work and should get the recognition he deserves. Onto the album itself, I think I got into it just by looking at the covers, and that one caught my attention, as is probably the case with many other people who were looking at the covers. I mean, it's just a picture of a monkey drooling over cake, looking to the sky. And of course, that had to pique my interest in some capacity. And I listened to the tracks and thought that there was a level of consistency there and eclecticism that I wouldn't say it was absent from other albums, but it was far more pronounced on this collection, more so than many of the others. And it does rank probably in my top 5 very comfortably so, actually, because of that.
Interesting. All right, Tony, what's your story?
Oh, this is one of the last pre-1975 albums I got.
Interesting.
I'd gotten Heroes, then I kind of went around it. I got Heroes, then Penguin, then Kiln House, then Future Games and Bare Trees. So this was just an afterthought. I was like, oh, I've got to get this one. I forgot. And I think the reason I avoided it at first is because at the time, I didn't really like Heroes very much at all.
Oh.
And when I heard Penguin, it was enough removed, and I was thinking, okay, that's the direction I want to go in, is earlier. And I was worried that this would sound a lot like Heroes, and it doesn't. And as I got older, I liked Heroes a lot. But at the time when I was young, I didn't understand it, didn't really. But anyway, this album, I agree with Nick that Bob Weston's contribution to this is actually quite strong and very noticeable. It's actually much more pronounced than it was in Penguin.
Okay. At least
And in terms of the long playing, it is a very long playing album. They say that there's kind of an industry practice in the 70s where if you exceeded about 17 or 18 minutes a side, the quality of the song, the quality of the music would begin to deteriorate when it got closer to the middle, to
Oh,
the so the toward the end of the sides of the albums, the quality of the sound would deteriorate.
oh,
So it was
oh, on
common practice to put slower and quieter songs toward the end of each
Songbird.
side.
Okay, that's
So
great
I know
info.
that with Rumors, they were really, it was all about making sure that sonically that album was in perfect shape. So when
Yeah.
you bring up Rumors, I still don't buy that they had to make that it was Silver Springs was too long, but I do know that they did cut down a number of songs on the making of that record to like You Make Love and Fun, the original was longer
Mhm.
Right.
and that kind of thing. So I do think that this is kind of an unusual album because it is one of the few pre 1975 albums that actually has a lot of. It is a long player, and Heroes is the other one. So they were kind of getting into a groove. In terms of my overall feelings about the album, I remember at the time thinking this is a really solid album. I've never loved this album the way that other people do. But I've never, in any stretch of the imagination, hated it. It's always been to me kind of a middle of the road record, even though there are some songs on it I absolutely love. For me, it's gotten in the way the overall engineering of it. It lacks what Penguin had. I think Penguin had a really great sound to it, and so for this one, the music sounds too close to the speakers or something. Something is not working for me sonically on it, but that the songs are very nice. So that was it.
It's interesting because like the cover, whatever Nick said it was a monkey. I feel like it's like a woolly man. I don't know what it is. We'll call it Mick
Beast of
Fleetwood
some sort. Yeah.
taking a bite of a cake and a book. So he's eating sweets and knowledge.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, I think it's kind of like sampling different things, and it's kind of like the book and sweets are. It's kind of like he's try. It's kind of like try everything, and that I never look at that picture very often. That the second one, it's on
yeah,
the inner sleeve.
he's got a book and a scroll,
Yeah,
a
Well,
penguin.
yeah, the penguin,
it's a whole story, right?
Right.
and it's kind of an unknown artist that did those, and he wasn't credited for uh, being used for this album. That's what I read.
Is it
Oh
the
no,
same artist?
Modula or Medulla
Yeah.
did it. It's the same artist that did Penguin.
Okay.
And they actually Modula did a lot of albums at that time period, especially in England.
Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
a lot of very similar kind of work.
Yeah, it's interesting artwork to say the least. But that front cover is kind of striking. It's kind of like you're tasting knowledge, and then you're tasting cake, and you don't like them. It's kind of like he doesn't like them both, or does he? Or it's pretty cool.
The
It's
album has gotten on lists of I think I said this last time. This album has made it on the lists of worst album covers and best album
Oh,
covers.
that's so great.
yeah.
So it's I think that's a sign of a really interesting cover when you can get such a reaction out of people.
I say best. I actually love it.
Oh, it's I think it's a cool album cover.
Yeah.
It's bizarre, but it's very cool. And I love the gatefold. I love the photograph on the inside.
Clearly in an attic somewhere.
That's at Benefolds, yeah.
And you know, the title, of course, is mystery to me. From the line in the song "Emerald Eyes." Um, my re-listening to this album, you know, this was the first one that I discovered pre Buckingham Nicks, but I just feel like there's a certain confidence on this album more so than any of them before. Like they really seem confident, especially on side one. I do, you know, not jumping ahead, but I feel like the album does sag a little bit on side two, but I feel like side one is really strong.
That's I'll
And
get to that.
yeah, and Mick Fleetwood has described this as like the rumors of this era, right? Like I feel like I read an interview where he puts this with like Then Play On was the best of that era, and Rumors is the
Mhm.
best of that era, and
That's
Mystery to Me is the best of this era. So
Yeah, on that, Mick Fleetwood usually cites Then Play On as his favorite album, Tusk as his second. Sometimes he'll lump those two together as his favorites. And
right,
then I think there have been interviews where he's mentioned Then Play On is, or I'm sorry, Mystery to Me is my third favorite.
right.
Mystery to Me has said something similar in some interview, although I'm blanking on which publication actually printed that. So it's well regarded by the band. I haven't heard Bob say anything negative about it. He
Right.
seems to like the material, and John doesn't conduct too many interviews, so who knows what his thoughts are.
Well, should we go into the track by track discussion?
Yeah. Although right before we do, I just have to say that every Fleetwood Mac guitarist has left an imprint, like
Mhm.
some sort of like they each have had their own album, so to speak.
Right,
Like, Peter Green pretty much had Then Play On. Even though Danny was doing a lot of the songwriting, it was still Peter Green's, you know, Bare Trees is really Danny Kerwin's
yeah.
yeah,
baby. This is Bob Welsh's baby.
yep,
Hmm.
And this you can see it.
And you can apply that to Killing House, where Jeremy Spencer was very prominent. Heroes Are Hard to Find, where Bob has 7 out of the 11 tracks in terms of songwriting credits. So it's really their final hurrah of Lindsey Buckingham with Tango in the Night, where he co-wrote pretty much all but maybe 4 or 5 songs on that album out of 12 tracks.
and he also put himself in the fade out of every song doing the background vocals.
Yeah, that's right. There were only a couple here and there, like even Mystified. He had to get that final Mystified.
Yep. Um. All right, so Emerald Eyes, what a different sounding opening track for a Fleetwood Mac song. Mick's really confident with the tom fills. Is that a tom or a timpani?
I'm actually not entirely sure the noise. I would have to listen back to it. I thought it could be maybe the low end of a piano, mic'd unusually. It could very well be a timpani, but it's nonetheless a really
Oh,
cool effect. I don't
okay.
have any definitive answer on that though.
Right. Just a really, really confident opening track. It doesn't sound, you know, everyone has like their standard Christine McVie song, standard Stevie Nicks song, standard Bob. I feel like a lot of songs on Heroes are kind of like your standard Bob Welsh fare. But I feel like Emerald Eyes is a really unique song in his catalog too. Uh, really well written song, a great hook. Christine sounds great on the harmony. Just a really confident album opener. Of course, that's where the album title came from. I, when I put this album on in the early '80s, I'm like, who's this voice? It wasn't Lindsay, it wasn't Stevie, uh, but it's a great melody. Sometimes Bob could meander a little bit, and the melody was just really tight on this song. Love this song. What are your guys' thoughts?
I love it. I think it's a great march. It's got march time, and
Yeah.
it's an unusual in that regard. It's pretty unusual. Um, and the like you said, the harmonies are fantastic on this song.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to hear a version of this. Someone do a version of this, which is at double time.
Okay.
Like bringing it really up faster,
Oh,
just to see what they would do with it. But it's a great tune, I think. I think it's really well done. It's a good tune. The only thing is there's a studio effect going on. There's like that sound where it sounds like crashing.
Doo doo, kind of
It's
as
like,
accenting.
and
Yeah,
what is that? It's almost a cartoonish effect.
it
I don't
is.
know what that
Yes.
is.
I think that's what we were discussing earlier.
Right.
They're serving more as accents going into each of the passages. I think leading up to the first verse, you can hear in the intro. You can hear in a couple other sections as well, probably
Yeah.
three or so times. And
I,
I
I
wish I knew.
yeah. Jim, what are your notes on this one?
yes.
I'm
A
gonna go turn
song
on my
that
air.
what?
So I'm gonna go turn on my air really quick. So go ahead and start your notes.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
All right. well, Jeremy's going to miss a great one here. a song that may be describing a woman or a favorite boat. It has kind of a rocking sound to it, a slow rock, and kind of I don't know, in a way, it has like an organ sound that is kind of like you see in like ship movies or something. The music. I mean, it's just a great piece sonically. It shows the talent of the band. A very captivating song. I love the Sky Report Weatherbird references in the lyrics. It's like um, Weatherbird is used a lot in older people or British people. I've heard that term a few times, just in references, and I love that in the lyrics. It it would make a good slow dancing song. A little close. It kind of lends itself to that. The guitar work is great, and it's on its own island. It's a good piece of work. It's a, kind of an odd intro. I mean, a lot of bands will put a real fast song on an intro, but it probably just sets the tone for the album. There's a lot of different music pieces here, so a very nice, romantic beginning to the album.
And it's interesting because, like, in the Fleetwood Mac discography, you have Emerald Eyes, you have Brown Eyes.
Yeah,
Are there any more eyes?
There's July Judy
Eyes of
as
the
well.
World.
July Judy. Yep.
Eyes of the
Eyes of the
World.
World.
Eyes of the World. Yep.
I love that live.
Yeah.
Gosh, the recent shows. I love that. People didn't really get it in the audience, but I loved it. Absolutely loved it live.
Yeah, that's one of Lindsay's
Eyes of the
only
World.
songs from the Mirage album that he ever plays live. He did it on his Out of the Cradle tour. That was a cool rendition where he had the
And
army guitarist and the percussionist.
And on the back screen, that all the graphics and stuff on the live, that was very good. And
right,
I
in
recorded it.
2013.
I did. Yeah, that's in that area. I did record it, and I've got it on YouTube. Eyes of the World. It's just good.
You.
People, the crowd doesn't really get into it. They don't. They never heard it and all that. And it's great live. It's just wonderful.
So Nick,
but back to this. I want to hear this more about this.
Yeah, Nick, what's your thoughts on Emerald Eyes?
Well, does Jim have any additional thoughts on this song?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Or no.
No.
Okay.
I did everything.
All right, great. So Bob Welch did a rendition of this on his Greatest Hits and Beyond album, and included were some liner notes where he did more or less track by track analysis on what the song was about, the lyrical inspiration. And apparently what he wrote in the liner notes, or what was documented in the liner notes, is that it was influenced by Carl Jung, of all people. So I can read the quote. Emerald Eyes was a composite. She's the female anima in the Jungian sense, the female archetype within us all. Part of what you're falling in love with, according to Carl Jung, the psychologist, is the idealized archetype of the eternal feminine or the eternal masculine. Of course, a lot of the reason people break up is that it turns out the real person doesn't match the ideal. That's probably the best explanation we'll get on the song. I'm not sure if he mentioned this too much in his Q&A. I would have to go back. He did 2 of them with the Penguin, and he mentioned a bunch of songs: Hypnotized, Sentimental Lady. I don't know if he talked about this too much, so this might be the only piece of information we have about the lyrical inspiration. I think it's a very strong opener. It's one of the few songs in their catalog with what would be classified as an odd time signature. Most of the tracks are just in standard time 4/4. You have a few in 6/8. I think Hypnotized could very well be deemed 12/8 with its shuffling, but this one is actually in 6/4, which might be the most unusual time signature that the band has played, to my understanding. And I have a little bit of a small story where I decided to bring this in for drum lessons when I was probably 12 or 13 years old. And we were trying to play cool polyrhythms on top of it through different lessons included on the page. And I didn't know that it was in 6/4 at the time, so we were trying to do passages of 4/4 on top of a 6/4 time signature, and it was then when I realized that it was indeed in that odd time signature. It's wonderfully mixed, well, I would say the mixing is pretty good. The instrumentation is even better. I think Christine's work on the piano and organ is very strong in terms of the coloring that she provides. The guitar work, especially the guitar solos, are very strong. It's certainly an unusual opening, but it sets the tone of the album relatively well. I wouldn't say that there are too many songs that are representative of the album as a whole, but it was a good effort to put this on for the first track
Uh,
to introduce the band to more Bob Welch and then the final hurrah of Bob Weston.
Right.
Nick, how are you getting at the time signature? I'm looking at this. I had to go run and get it.
Oh,
I'm
so
looking
it's
at the
six
sheet
four and then
music.
it alternates from 6/4 to 4/4. So 1, 2,
I'm
3,
seeing
4.
maybe it's coming to the same thing because I'm seeing 4/4 to 2/4.
Yes, you can interpret it as a measure of 4/4, a measure of 2/4, and then
Got
two
it.
measures of
Got it.
4/4.
Okay.
So it's more or less consolidating those two.
Got it. No, I
There are
just
many
was curious how you were
interpretations.
doing that. Yeah.
Yes, that is how.
All right. Well, any other thoughts on Emerald Eyes?
I love the fade out.
Mhm.
oh yeah,
I mean, the fade out, the way it gets all muddied and confusing, and then it moves into the piano passage to the next one.
that's Fleetwood Mac. I mean, they incorporate that on their later records. I mean, the famous stuff they did, a lot of these chord changes and fade outs, and that's why how I noticed them in the modern era is, uh, man, that's really cool. It almost like it's a music lesson in a way. Uh, just how, uh, like on Hypnotize, the drums come in, and that drums is just all the way through it, and it's kind of like, well, this is the drums, and and this and that. So it's that's kind of how I interpret some of this.
All right. Well, moving on to the second song, we have a fade in. I remember
Hmm.
hearing that piano, fading up into the mix, and there's a drum hit, and then it goes into this groovy, very, I feel like this is kind of like your standard Christine McVie kind of groove, and I loved it in 1984, and I love it now. Believe me, uh, we were about to do a run of two Christine songs, and I love them both. I just think great lyrics, great feeling. There's just a certain feeling that a great Christine McVie song gives you. Uh, and this is one of them. What do you guys think of Believe Me?
I love it. I mean, I think as in terms of a song, it's very solid. It sounds like it sounds very Dead influenced. Like
Oh,
the music is very much like a Dead jam, but she
well,
puts
that's
this
cool.
very poppy
Yeah,
melody
you're
on
right.
top of it.
Yeah, that sounds
And you
like this.
can and you really hear the Dead influence when they do it live on the midnight special.
I just
Um,
watched that. Yeah.
and it's really it really has that kind of thing in it, but there's a pop beat, there's a pop melody on top, which I think is really fun. Again, the only complaints I have about this song are just the recording. The instruments sound so close to the speakers,
Okay.
and it's just like the drums almost over, like especially toward the end with the slow fade out, the drums almost overtake it. But it's a beautiful tune. I love it.
All
So
right.
my introduction to this was also through the Midnight Special. I was watching clips of the band on YouTube and was curious about any live footage that may have existed from the band because there were plenty of recordings of the Buckingham Nicks era from the White Album to the Tango in the Night
Yeah.
era, a few from Behind the Mask here and there as well. But this was one of the few recordings captured where the visuals were also present too.
Right.
And I found so the live recording, I heard that before I heard the studio recording. And with the live recording with the Midnight Special, the piano intro is supplanted with a slide guitar intro from Bob Weston that
Yeah.
does kind of emulate Y to a certain extent. There are a few differences here and there, but you could find some parallels there. And also, Bob Welch's harmony vocals are far more prominent on the live version, whereas I think it's mostly Christine from what I can hear on the studio cut. It's far livelier too for the live rendition too, fitting that it's a live performance that's also livelier. But I also share some of the not concerns but opinions that the mix is a bit muddy. I actually like the outro and how the drums are mixed in that location too, but it almost does feel like it's cramped and stuffy to a certain extent, and the instruments aren't given enough room to breathe. The arrangement itself is fine, but the mixing could have used some additional work there.
Right.
Okay. That's good.
Jim.
You know, before we go
Oh.
on, just to let the live thing, every time I've heard a live version of this, the live version is better than the studio version.
Mhm.
Right.
That's my
Every live
takeaway.
version I've heard, whether it be on the 1974 bootlegs or it be
Wow.
in the 1976 tour that they, or 76, 77. I mean, every time, this is a really great tune to do live.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think for the first leg of the Rumors tour, either that or the Penguin Safari tour the year prior, they did indeed perform the song with Lindsay and Stevie on background vocals. And I enjoy all of those renditions far more than the studio mix. They were really able to transform it and open up the arrangement quite a bit.
All
All
right,
right.
Jim, what are your notes on this one?
Yes, I'm going to kind of add to that. That live. It's kind of a treasure to have that actually recorded of that era of the band. It kind of helps people with kind of fill in the blanks about what they look like and where were they put on stage. Just the whole thing. There's some real rough stuff. Just watched a clip and I saw it a few times where Bob Weston's doing. It's probably a closer. It's kind of a stomp. It's a real crowd pleaser just to finish. I don't know what the song was. It's like 2 minutes of it, and in the YouTube remarks they kind of say, "Where's the rest of this?" Might have been a great show, and I hope Mick is sitting on some tapes,
Right.
or someone is sitting on some actually video footage of that era because I think there was some. There must have been some taken that we don't know about, but maybe it's all gone. But it's you can only hope. Um, it's nice to have. I watched the Midnight Special back in the day. I'm that old. So, but I didn't see this, or maybe I saw it and I didn't remember it. It's kind of like that. Uh, you know, um, and I remember Fleetwood Mac on 2020 in the Buckingham Nicks era, and I'm trying to find clips of it, and they did play a song, and it was Stevie because it kind of drew me in. Uh, or I'm just imagining stuff, but I swear to God, I saw that. So this I'm glad it's there. And just really, it's really a treasure that there's some clips from that era. There's kind of a big gap. There wasn't much of Kerwin in the Welsh era of any video that we know of. So it's nice to have at least this. So okay, I'll get to believe me. And Christine's describing she's willing to deal with the rough times with John, but they may not stay together, even though their goals are professionally the same. That's kind of what she's saying in the song. It's kind of like we have a good team here, and it's a great. It's kind of it's because it's a fast song and it's a great boogie woogie song. We just want to keep this going on, but man, it's really tough in the private, in their private lives and she's just willing to just stick it out, and maybe John will, change, but no. And let's see, uh, yeah, pretty intro, then a very up tempo song. Band plays well, tightly together. It's kind of like I kind of like that. It's kind of said here it was kind of muddled together, but I kind of like that in this. And also wonderful outro music, wonderful intro, wonderful outro, boogie woogie in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of contrast, especially in the dynamics with the piano and then when the snare drum first hits and the rest of
Yeah,
the arrangement. Whereas a lot of times now with songs, producers won't risk that much contrast and they'll compress the ever living daylights out of the song to the point where if you look at the waveform, you can't really tell one section from the other. Here they took some liberties. Maybe I
oh,
would have liked it if the piano was slightly louder, but at the very least, there is some nuance. There are nuances within the mix that some attention was given to that.
that's what we're missing now in music, craftsmanship and taking chances and
And
being yourself. It's kind of like it's all formal, like you kind of want to fit in a genre,
yeah.
and it's stale. And this is one of my or just big arguments. Nothing's busting through into the culture anymore. Like, you could have these little tiny enclaves of, Spotify and stuff, and people have their little uh, preferences and stuff. And there's just nothing that's busting out. I'm a lazy listener, and there's nothing really that's seeping into even in like a commercials or just background music anywhere that would catch my ear. It's just like, where is it? I mean, we need some new music. You can use old forms,
All right,
but
Jim,
there's
I'm gonna cut
nothing.
you off. Let's stay on Mystery to
Yeah,
Me.
yeah.
I gotta get
Okay.
I gotta get to bed early today.
All right.
Let's not forget that. Let's also remember the tempo change at the fade out of the song too.
Yeah. All right.
How it goes into the tom fills, and they go back into like the. I feel that's almost Kerwin-esque.
Those are mixed very well. Yeah, I
It's a
love how
very
the
much
drums sound.
it's like a mini suite. The
Mhm.
song is like a mini suite, and and I like that.
So just when this song ends, the drum hits, and we go right into the next one. Another
Yeah.
Christine McVie classic. Just Crazy Love. It's interesting because the hook is almost like an afterthought, which isn't unusual for a Christine song. You know what I mean? The hook of Just Crazy Love is almost a backup part.
Mhm.
Uh, but it has just a classic Christine McVie melody, a classic Christine groove. I remember as a child hearing these two songs back to back. I just fell in love with the album because I mean, this is Christine being Christine at her best. Do you guys have anything additional to offer about this song in contrast to the last one?
Is this the first time where they had two consecutive Christine McVie songs on an album? I think it
Yep.
might be.
Maybe
Yep.
so. Yeah.
And it didn't happen very often, did it?
Didn't happen until Tusk again.
Right.
And then there were, yeah, on that album with the sequencing, there were maybe 8 or 10 songs where she just completely dropped off the face of the earth, and then they came back. I think with Brown Eyes. I think it's "Think About Me" to "Brown Eyes" where she has that gap. I don't think I'm missing anything there.
Got like 6 songs.
No, well, that's 10 songs because "Think About Me" is
Yeah.
track 3, "Brown Eyes" is track 13.
It's the
Okay.
weirdest sequencing idea ever. But
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ken Calais said that he tried to orient the sequencing so that Lindsay's songs would kind of be neutered a little bit and cushion between some of the softer Christine McVie songs, but it almost makes it more noticeable with "Over and Over" and then "The Ledge" right
Oh, yeah.
afterwards. I'm not sure if they really succeeded, but I love that album.
I
But
thought Stevie sequenced everything ever.
she produced it all.
She produced it all. Well, Jim, do you have any notes on Just Crazy Love?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I'll go and I'll try to be brief.
you're fine.
well,
You're
man.
good.
just be on topic.
Okay,
That's what
yeah.
matters.
Yeah, just stay on topic. You don't have to be brief. We'll just stay on topic.
Well, yeah, I love Christine's voice here, especially when she harmonizes with herself. John McVie's bass, a pounding away. It's a darn shame this song and other songs from Christine from this era were not played on the radio. I would have loved them. I mean, it's just, some great, great songwriting, great music, a nice tempo, nice little pop songs, and they just didn't, because this material is as good as the later eras, I think, and
Yeah.
it didn't catch on. I mean, even in the underground, even in the rock formats that were like album rock, I never heard this girl sing until the White Album.
Right.
I love the song. I think it's Are you done, Jim, or would you like to?
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh,
I
okay.
I do my notes, and then I do a little bit of playing around, just free. What do you call it? Freelance and free form, and then sometimes it just keeps going.
Oh, you're the best, Jim.
Yeah.
I have,
Okay.
I like the song. There are a number of things about it that are interesting. It has very clear verses, but then it has a kind of sub-chorus or a pre-chorus, which is
Right.
the, even when everybody tells me I'm just playing the fool, which is very hooky. And then when you get to the chorus, like you said, it sounds almost like it's almost like dashed off the chorus. I
Right.
think it's that in some ways the song kind of reminds me of "Got a Hold on Me," where the verses are more important than the chorus.
Right. Sure.
Um, but it's the this song sounds. Another thing I noticed is that this song sounds stylistically like something that would appear 10 years later on the radio. It
Yes.
Yeah.
sounds this sounds like very early '80s kind of music.
Oh, wow.
Um, and it's like I could imagine a song like this on a Rick Springfield album or something.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
You
Yep.
know, but it's the another thing that I thought was really quite interesting was the in the verse after she sings a verse like it says where after she has a moment like after she sings a phrase in the verse and there's a little bit of an interlude with like a little instrumental, Weston is filling using a guitar fill,
Mhm.
which sounds it's a really busy guitar fill, but
Mhm.
it sounds kind of crazy. It sounds like
Yeah.
kind of like it sounds really ecstatic, and it's like and if you listen to it, it's a really good moment of narrative kind of production touch. Like the arrangement has a narrative element to it, and
Mhm.
I think that it's one of the early instances where they're actually trying to make the instruments enhance the lyrics,
Okay.
which I thought was really kind of cool.
All right.
Yeah, Bob Weston's guitar tone is rather unique too, in that it does sound like a volume pedal, especially for the intro. And that's something that Lindsay would do, especially on songs like Dreams, where I think Nick in one interview was talking about, I just want to get some normal tones out of Lindsay, yet he insists on making his
Oh,
guitar
that
sound like a
part.
violin, like wow, 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 that part.
Okay. That's cool because I I picked up on that and I thought that was kind of used on Dreams or other work.
Yes, it
But
was,
yeah,
right.
cool. Cool that texture lives on.
It does, yes, and it predates Lindsay.
Yeah,
And
that's good.
also, it was mentioned that it sounds like something from the mid 80s. Well, Christine McVie on her tour accompanying her self titled solo album, she
Mhm.
did indeed play this song in the set list. So it had that appeal. I'm not sure if it was received well. I don't think too many publications commented on it, but it
The
certainly was
audience loved
present.
it when she sang it.
Oh, good.
The audience roared when she said, "Let's do some pre 1975
Oh,
stuff."
hell yeah.
Yeah. I need
And
to
she
watch
did
that again.
this. She did "Spare Me a Little," and then she
Yeah,
did one other tune, and I can't remember what it was.
blanking on it as well, but I'll see if I
Yeah.
can come up with it.
Cool.
But good song, good selection. Glad it was included on this album, and it is even more up tempo than the last. And it's interesting. There's a Rolling Stone article that was not written by Bud Scopa, and we were talking about how we thought that the first 5 or 6 songs were incredibly strong. Well, they thought the inverse. They were, I think they said something along the lines
They
of,
gave it a
I was
thumbs
ready to,
down.
yeah, they gave it a thumbs down. They said that they were willing to throw the radio, or they were willing to throw the album out the window till they flipped over to the side two and they enjoyed the more rocky oriented songs more
Okay.
than the softer songs.
Okay.
The blues stuff too. It's like
Yes, like
but
the
yeah, they
city,
talked about it
sure.
being like very genteel, well-made,
Mhm.
genteel British rock.
Oh.
But then it
What's
was
wrong with that?
well, I know, but I think the reviewer was viewing this album in relationship to Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac and saying that every album since Peter Green left became an increasing bore,
Mm.
Oh.
and that the album was like caught between the mush-mouthed musings of Christine McVie in this like kind of boring psychedelic rock of Bob Welch.
Bob, yeah.
Yeah, the review is pretty harsh. The review is pretty.
Very, yes.
It's the worst
What did,
review they've gotten, except for Future Games got a bad review too.
did he review the White Album or Rumors? That's
Oh.
my question.
No, Buzz Copa reviewed it, and Buzz Copa reviewed Bare Trees and the White Album and Kilnhouse for what I think it is.
Yeah.
Well, I will
Um,
say on record that I listened to Mr. and Me 8,000 times more than Then Play On. So, for
Yeah.
what it's worth.
I love them both. They're awesome.
This one's
Yeah.
just far more accessible. It's not a knock on the quality of then play on. It's more so that it requires a lot of commitment to sit through, say, before the beginning. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't just put that on. You need to be in the mood for
Oof.
that.
Yeah.
I
Here's a
love
feel
Before
good
the
one.
Beginning.
Here's
I
a feel
love
good.
Before the Beginning. I could listen to. I would take Before the Beginning over anything on this album, but that's just another.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
love the song. It's just that it requires a lot of time. You need to be in the right mood to listen to that.
All right. So moving on. Now let me say first, the next song, of course, is Hypnotized. I was playing a show in Miami, and I had to drive overnight over Alligator Alley, which is very mystical, very UFO-y, and it. This is a little bit of a side story, but at the time there were two Pointer Sister albums that were very hard to find on CD, and one of them was their album Energy, and I finally found an import on CD. I listened to it the first time on that trip, and they do a fucking killer cover of Hypnotized on that album.
I gotta find it.
I mean, you wouldn't think that the Pointer Sisters could tackle that song, but Tony, what do you think of that cover?
Oh, I love it. You can hear it on YouTube.
Yeah,
It's great. It's great. It's so weird, and it works for them. Yeah, it really works. I wouldn't have expected them to do it, but yeah. And I remember Bob Welch thinking it was odd, but I thought that was right up his. I thought that they were keeping to the spirit of its strangeness.
right. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I gotta look into that.
Oh, that whole Pointer Sisters album is amazing.
The Pointers are good singers, so they can pull off that vocal. I mean, I
Yeah.
know they can take that. So I'm gonna have to find that and give it a
Well,
look.
it's the one with the deep voice that's singing it.
Ruth.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Thank you. You knew. Yeah, I always just know them by the voice quality. I'm always like,
Yep. There's Ruth, June, and Anita. There will be a Phonogenics Pointer Sisters journey one day. I'm a huge fan
oh,
of
they're
the
so underrated. They're so
I love
underrated.
them. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, their early stuff with like the 1940s, then like the rock stuff with they were so revolutionary. Then like the early 80s, they did like the new soul. Then going on to the synth pop, like what a career. Oh, I get the chills thinking about those three. I think I'm Ruth, the bitchy one. Me and my friend Jeff always. All right, Jim.
okay.
I'm getting everyone's names wrong. Jim, what's your notes on Hypnotized?
All right. Well, I listened to this and I counted the drum cycles. It's still 13 before it gets when everybody joins in. Mick plays the riff, no overdub, straight through, just all the way through. There's a story about Nirvana. I'm trying to make it short, where Dave Grohl on I think it was Teen Spirit or some other song, he was speeding up his guitar work through the song, and they had to use they call it a kicker or something, and they played that while he played, and he straightened that out. So that's the end of that little story.
You mean
But
a click track? Click track?
click track, yes, and to get Dave kind of grounded a little. So, but Mick is just a natural. He's just, I mean, if you probably measured it computer wise, it's probably exact. Mick is just like
Right.
he's a fucking machine. Sorry about the little language, but my introduction to Fleetwood Mac, I took this because I grew up on Hendrix and Dylan and on the radio, and Bob's voice here is similar to Jimmy's, and the lyrics are like Bob Dylan's, but a little spacier. Superb harmonies. Christine keyboard is so yummy. Bob Weston credited with some of the guitar work here, and it was the B-side for the single "For Your Love."
Mm.
So, a couple good songs there. I should look into finding that single.
It works on every level. It works on every level.
Yes.
Sonically, I mean, it's one of the few songs on the album where I think that the engineering works for this really well. This is like all the things, the complaints I had about some of the earlier songs with the way the speakers are too close to the. Here it's just perfect,
Yeah.
and they're creating all this space.
Mm-hmm.
And it, to me, it's that chorus with Christine's harmonies on the chorus just give me chills every time I hear it. It's just perfection.
And don't you feel like it's kind of part of that same mystic territory that Rhiannon would be part of a couple albums later.
Oh, totally. I
Absolutely.
mean, it's like I think that there was a real continuity between Green, Welsh, and Nix. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a real, but I mean, you get that, but part of the real mystic element here is Christine's voice on it.
And on Rhiannon too, in that verse
Yeah.
where Christine does the harmony. That's one of my favorite parts of the album version. Nick, what are your thoughts on this one?
So this was another composition that Bob covered on his Greatest Hits and More album. I will read what he said about it, Bob himself. So he said that it was sort of a hodgepodge about people seeing a UFO and also about Indian medicine men flying in their astral bodies. I kind of dumped it all in there and created this mood. So Jim mentioned that the song, I mean, I think Bob was asked if it was a drum loop used in the song. He said, no, that's just Mick, and it's a demonstration of his wonderful capabilities.
Wow.
Mick is, I wouldn't say, I mean, he is somewhat underrated as a drummer. In terms of his chops, he is by no means the most flashy, he is by no means the flashiest player, but he is very much a meat and potatoes type of drummer where he serves the song as opposed to trying to show off his playing. And I think that his tastefulness is showcased here quite a bit here. In the rhythm section in general, they lay it down.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Guitar
Oh,
fills. I would say every single aspect of the song lends to this hypnotic quality. It's another example of like Just Crazy Love, the crazy guitar feel, and then the hypnotic drum groove as well. That's one other example there. There are a couple of stories where this song had relevance. So I was trying to get my best friend into Fleetwood Mac, I think, around the time of high school. So I recommended the Mystery to Me album. And when I asked maybe a week or so what he thought of the album, he cited this as his favorite song and the song that turned him on to the work of Bob Welch. So it had its influence on Gen Zers, and I
Cool.
hope that it continues in some capacity. And there was also this literature class I was taking in high school, and I decided to go for impressionist lyricism, and I decided to pull the two friends having coffee together line. I essentially just stole it, put it in my work. I didn't publish it or submit it as an assignment. It was more so to generate some ideas. And that was the one line that piqued their curiosity and said, you should really take that line and do something with it because that really evokes a lot of imagery. And I didn't say anything. I didn't mention that it was from a song. I just left it at that. It just demonstrates that there is an appreciation for Bob's lyricism outside the context of the songs itself. It's just that he really didn't get too much appreciation for his work, really ever. Maybe a little bit after his death, this song did indeed remain in the set list well into the Rumors tour, or definitely in the White Album tour. And Lindsay apparently somewhat resented playing this song. He felt
Hated it.
Yeah,
Hated it.
he felt that he was too anchored in the past and that he was relieved by the time they were on the Tusk album where they had enough material from the three albums he participated in where they didn't need to draw back to say Spare Me a Little of Your Love or Hypnotize, and he thought it was a relief that they could finally move on and focus on stuff that he resonated with more.
And didn't this get played in the 2019 tour for a little bit, then it got dropped?
Yeah.
First leg.
And I missed out on it.
Damn.
Oh man, and that and what's that other one?
Storms.
The what?
They did Storms and Hypnotized.
They did Tell Me All the Things You Do was the other one.
Yes, I wanted to see that.
I saw that one. Who sang the lead on it? Neil Finn?
No.
It was Neil and Christina on Tell Me All the
Neil
Things
on
You Do.
Tell Me, and then on Hypnotized, Neil sang the lead, and then the rest of them sang harmonies on it.
Okay.
But, I think with this song too, I think with Hypnotized, one of the things that it's like Believe Me Too, it actually sounds even better, if you can believe it or not, in the live shows sometimes. I mean, the live show that soundboard in Sausalito, and also the in 1974, the guitar work from Bob Welsh is just unbelievable. I mean, it's inspired and it's just beautiful. And
there's that. You're talking about that December '74
Record Plant.
Yeah, the record. Well, there's two. There's the record plant, and then there's the Sausalito soundboard.
Okay.
Right, and the one I'm thinking of is the record plant one the one that you can find in
Right. The box set.
in the box set.
Okay.
Which I mean, the way he plays "Hypnotized" there is just unbelievable. I mean,
Bob is really good.
I mean, you can realize that he's got such jazzy chops. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, he is. He watched some of that live stuff and said, "Damn, Bob is pretty damn good."
Now, let's not forget to mention that there's rumors that wasn't originally Dave Walker the lead vocalist on the song, and that's part of the reason why they ditched him from the
When
band.
asked about that, though, when asked about that, Bob Welsh says he never remembers Dave Walker being the lead from this.
Okay.
So I don't know if that was just there have been music journalists that have written about it, but I don't know if they really were coming from a point of knowledge or just
Rumors, as
going
I said.
around.
So I think it was either Mick's first biography where he mentioned it, or the Bob Brunning book. And Dave Walker mentioned that there were 2 tracks where he attempted the lead vocals on it, and then they scrapped them. Hypnotized could very well be the one. If Bob is disputing it or doesn't have any recollection of it, that doesn't necessarily mean it didn't happen, but it's a possibility that he did indeed do it. I think Dave said in the Q&A that he was given one song penned by Bob, the other penned by Christine. And I don't think there's been any mention of what the Christine song would be. If it's any of the material on this album, I could see maybe Believe Me being the best.
It's the only one I could think of. Yeah.
I'm gonna be with you, baby.
Well, I mean, and I think the city is really the natural. The city is the real natural fit for
You know, let's keep on going, though. Keep on the way I'm going. Okay, back to the podcast. Any other thoughts on Hypnotized?
Just one little thing.
Go ahead.
I think Mick is a percussionist that does some drumming. So that's compared to other drummers, he's a percussionist, and he drums too. Cool.
All right, well, moving on to Forever, we have a Bob Weston, John McVie co-write with Bob Welsh is the third person.
Yep, that's the configuration.
Is that a drum machine I hear?
Okay,
it is indeed a drum machine, and I can pull up the name of it. I think both Bobs mentioned the model of it. I just need to find it. So you can continue talking, and then once we get to me, then I can mention it.
And we wouldn't hear a drum machine in a Fleetwood Mac album again until Tango in the Night, probably, right?
I didn't know they had drum machines back then.
It was more a rhythm box than, say, a Lindrum, for example. Very primitive. Like you couldn't do too much with the programming.
I mean, I guess the next time you hear a drum machine in the Fleetwood Mac universe would be on The Wild Heart with Stand Back.
And then on Tango, probably.
Yep, then on Tango.
Caroline, all of those songs. Family Man.
Forever. The song kind of almost has a little bit of an island feel, would you say?
Oh, yeah. It's oceany as hell.
You know, the first time I heard it when I was a kid, I actually liked it, and I still do. I think it's an outlier in the Fleetwood Mac discography. I think it has a breezy feeling. To me, it's not offensive at all. It's not even cheesy. I think it works. I like it. What do you guys think?
I didn't like it when I first heard it, and I actually love it now in my older years. I mean, I think it's such a well-crafted little tune.
Yeah, it is.
It's such, I mean, all the chord changes, and it's just it's got a great bass line. And it's just, I thought that, when I was younger, I was just like, this is stupid. And now I love it.
I feel like Welch's kind of spoken vocals, the plaintive vocals really work for the song. Yeah. I love it. And I feel like, once again, this isn't your average Bob Welch composition where he's kind of spacey and meandering. You know what I mean? This is a nice, tight, greatly written song with a beautiful Christine harmonies once again. Just a really confident, great song. Jim, what are your notes on it?
Yes, you can tell John McVie helped write this with Welsh and Christine. This song has little commercial value, but I love it. And I love the nice little guitar riffs and the bell that I would associate with like being in a harbor many years ago. And I love the lyric, "Don't fool with my happiness." It's kind of like, I want to be in the zone.
Yep.
And I don't want no one I'm right here. The sun's out, the waves,
Kind
and
of reminded me of the album cover, like the beach here a little bit.
yeah, it. Don't fool with my happiness. I like the way the sun lights today as it goes. It's just like no. This can't be on the radio. This can't be even a deep track. This is just like for the pleasure of the band and cool listeners, and that's it.
All right, Nick.
So this is one of my favorites. It's certainly a quirky composition in that it's rooted in John's bass playing and then the very primitive rhythm box as well. And I think Weston mentioned that it was from a Beverly, although I'm trying to do a search right now on the model and I can't find anything on it yet. So it could be just a failed memory on that. But regardless, I do like all the cool fills, which I think are played by Mick. It kind of sounds like the fills are played on timbales, although they could be heavily tuned tom toms. I'm not sure either way. And then the bell song or the bell sound you can hear on the chorus, where it's kind of played on the offbeat, kind of
Yeah.
indiscriminately, like do bum ding ding. I
Yeah,
love that extra touch. They were very creative on this entire album, and especially
It's
this
just-
track. It's by no means an orthodox arrangement whatsoever. And what were you about to say, Jim?
Yes, that bell sound is just like, just imagine being on a little boat or in the harbor. I think the bell is to kind of warn other boats, tiny, big and large, to stay out of my way. And it kind of ties in with "Don't fool with my happiness." I got a little bell here, and no one's going to get in my lane. It's
Right.
kind of-
Well, do you think they were trying to lure John McVie to come off his boat and come back into the recording studio?
yeah, that's probably what
That
it was.
could be it.
The other thing of note here is that they have a fade out in the most unusual location. It's in the middle of the verse. Usually, when they do fade outs, they have a final repetition of the chorus and then maybe an instrumental section, and then they bring down the levels. But for this fade out, they have it in the middle of one of the passages while Bob is reciting a final set of lyrics.
Right.
It's such an unusual touch, and I kind of like it actually.
I do too. And I feel like that's just the confidence of the album. Like they just tried some different stuff. They seem very sure of themselves. Any other thoughts on this song?
Yeah, I used to think it was filler, and now I love hearing it.
Yeah. What an interesting side. Well, we have one song left. I feel like this is kind of like Fleetwood Mac's disco song.
It is really.
It kind of reminds me of like Carly Simon's Attitude dancing.
Hey.
Be careful. This is one of my favorite tunes on the album.
No, I love it. Do you know what I always feel like the Fleetwood Mac sister song of this is? And you guys are going to think I'm crazy. But I always felt like many decades later, Everybody Finds Out referenced this song.
Yeah.
Just
They
those
could be in the same
strings.
universe.
Yep. It's a Bob Welch track. There's some strings. Christine does a killer lead vocal. When I was listening to it in the car today, like I just was in love with this track. I think it's a hot track. What a great way to end the side. Very inventive. It doesn't sound like anything they did until Everybody Finds Out. John, why do I keep calling you John? Tony, I'm so sorry.
It's a sexy tune. It's a sexy tune. Her voice is unbelievable on this. She is in the pocket vocally on this the whole way through. It is so great. It might be her best vocal on the record. Even though other people like others. I mean, I know a lot of people like cite Why as their favorite Christine song in the album. This one is just like, the vocal is so hot. And the song has a deep groove. It's a dark, serious tune. The great lyrics. Great lyrics.
Can you imagine Bob singing this, Tony?
Well, she said that it was what Bob had said is in a Q&A is that he was playing around with it and she wanted a crack at it. She liked it and she goes, "I really like this tune. I want it." And he said, "Well, it wound up being that the way she sang it, he could never sing it that way. So
Right.
he
Absolutely.
couldn't reach the notes or anything. So she really went somewhere with it. So I wonder how much of it might have even been a co-writing credit just, I mean, if it was Lindsay would have wanted a co-writing credit for it, right? But she really,
Lindsay.
this is, I wish that she had sung more of his tunes
Yeah.
because if this is what it would have been like, that would have been great.
Do you think the album would have been too heavy on the Welsh if she had not sang this one?
I
Well,
don't
we
know.
had a taste of that with Heroes Are Hard to Find.
Yeah, I mean,
I
that's,
would
you
say
would have
that
gotten
it was
Heroes Are Hard
almost,
to Find,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that it probably was in their best interest to split up the vocal duties. More Christine. Bob is a perfectly fine singer, but
Sure.
Fleetwood Mac albums need to have balance.
They had to have balance. Yeah.
And if you're thinking of a song on Heroes, Angel would have been a perfect tune for Christine to sing, or I mean, it's like something,
Okay, yeah.
just
Maybe
have
Born
her,
Enchanter, perhaps.
Well, yeah, she'd have to switch the words around a little bit, but yeah,
Sure,
um,
yeah, that's true.
unless she wants to go with the ladies, I don't know.
You never know, honey.
Yeah, but this is Keep On Going's beautiful. I love it.
Such an outlier in their catalog. Just like, forever. This is such an interesting side one of Mystery to me. Because, like, a lot of unique songs here.
Yeah.
All right. Jim, did you already do your notes?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
You guys, I'm so tired. I'm so sorry. I feel like I suck as a host. Tony, I know your name is Tony, so just forgive me.
We'll keep you going. Okay.
Okay, keep me going. I would never
All right.
cancel a podcast, though. I'm like, we're powering through, just like Fleetwood Mac did.
All right. A song written by Bob Welsh that Christine pulls off rather well. I hear string instruments, and then I looked in like some liner notes. All I can see is like the ranger of the players, and Christine could have been a jazz singer in a pinch. She could have just, I'm going to do jazz, Good run through from the band, nicely done.
All right. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I'll give my thoughts on it.
Okay.
The string arrangement obviously caught my attention, as would probably be the case with any listener. There are a couple of songs with strings.
Yeah.
Come a Little Bit Closer is probably one of the most prominent examples. And then early mixes of Wish You Were Here as well for the Mirage album. You can find that on the deluxe edition where there's some cool oboe playing, and then there's some nice string swells, where I actually find that version to be superior to what was included on the album. But here I think the arrangements were very well done, and I think, Jim, you were right in that no string players are credited, just the arranger. I do find it a little bit frustrating when the performers aren't given their due on the album. Maybe they just didn't have space, but they could have at the very least named the ensemble that played on the song. And there was probably just enough room for the liner notes for that information. And I think the person who was credited was Richard Hewson, or I think that's the name. I need to look back. Yeah, Richard Hewson. And in the book Fleetwood Mac FAQ, the person who wrote it, Ryan Reed, he interviewed various Fleetwood Mac affiliates who had participated in some of the sessions, like Ray Lindsay. He was interviewed. I think they had John Shanks, who did the production work on Say You Will for some of the songs. And they also were able to track down Richard Hewson, but he said absolutely little of note, unfortunately, where when asked what he remembered from the arrangement, I think he simply mentioned that, oh, I don't have the charts anymore. I forgot I even did the session. So, yeah, exactly. But I find it to be very strong in terms of the arrangement. According to Bob in his Q&A, he cited this as one of the songs where he played bass on it. And it does indeed feature more active bass part that's more reminiscent of Revelation. So,
Okay.
I mean, John McPhee in a different Q&A said that he played all the bass parts on Fleetwood Mac, on all Fleetwood Mac songs, but that's just patently false. We know that Lindsay did bass on What Makes You Think You're the One. He did a bunch of others too, for that matter. So we're just dealing with foggy memories, more or less. But I find that the instrumentation is very strong, even with the acoustic guitar playing. It's just chugging along. Makes you, when I put it on, I always have a smile on my face. It's a highlight on the disc.
The flamenco guitar is played by Martin Birch, isn't it?
Is it? I can't confirm.
I thought that was Martin Birch, but I could be wrong.
Well, he's not
Jeremy, it says it in
be.
the album. It's too small to read it on my CD. And the gatefold, does it say it on the gatefold?
Yeah, let me take a look. I got it right here. Oh,
I didn't know he was even a guitarist, actually. But in the gatefold, sometimes they omit certain credits, as was the case.
Martin Burks helped with acoustic guitar on "Keep On Going."
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay.
Right in the gatefold. And
There
of
you
course,
go.
the album has the infamous lyric sheet, which we will talk about in a little bit. In a few
Yes, we
thoughts.
will when it becomes relevant.
Yes. All right. Any other thoughts on side one of the disc before we turn it over?
I obviously disagree with Rolling Stone, and I think that this is probably one of the strongest stretch out of any Fleetwood Mac album. I'm sure we could find other examples of, oh, what about this? And I would say, sure, yeah, this is also a great stretch. But
Right.
there aren't too many weak links here in this 6-track, very eclectic mix of songs. I love what they did so far. And the second, maybe a little bit more generic. You have maybe an oversaturation of Bob. We'll get to that. But I think just from the first song to track 6, wonderful album so far.
Yep. All right. Well, we're flipping over the album.
Yes.
And we're about to hang out with Bob Welsh for a while, you guys. Bob Welsh is hanging out for a little bit. There's been another, I can, off the top of my head, Fleetwood Mac seems to like to put songs about New York City as the first song on side 2. Whether it's The City on Mystery to Me or Empire State on Mirage, it's happened before. They're not going back to the city. So Bob Welsh didn't like The City. I can't remember. Did Lindsey Buckingham like? He liked Empire State,
He
right?
was, but Stevie was in Illume. Stevie is all. It's a Paranoid song, so.
Right.
That's right. Has Lindsay really talked about Empire State too much? I've only seen a couple of interviews. I think from Musician Magazine, it was mentioned that he used a lap harp that Mick Fleetwood gave him, and he played that instrument. And also appeared, I think, on DW Suite. But that's really the only information I have on that song.
When the album was reviewed, they called it the most asinine song in rock and roll. It was.
I don't think so.
I remember loving it as a
the
kid.
reviewer loved it.
Oh, okay.
The reviewer loved it, but said it was deliberately asinine, just kind of like a goofy song, you know.
Incredibly goofy.
This song, "The City," not only did the Rolling Stone reviewer like it, I think, or no, they liked somebody, but what's his name loved this tune.
I'll pull up the review. Just
Robert
give me a moment.
Christgau.
Oh, that's a different reviewer.
Yeah, it was a
Rolling
different
Stone.
review. He loved this tune. He said
He's so picky about what he likes too.
He said it was their one
Very.
breakout.
Really?
On the album, it was their one breakout, and it's just he loved the hardness. And John, who's not here with us today, it's his favorite tune on the album.
So what does he see in the song? You don't need to.
I don't know.
I don't. Okay.
I don't ask. I mean, I think he just loves the rocking nature of it.
Okay.
It's kind of swampy a little. It kind of has a little bit of that. Even though it doesn't have a Stevie Wonder clavinet, I feel like it could.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it worked on "You Make Loving Fun." That might be the first use of the clavinet, unless I'm incorrect. But I certainly agree that it would have been even funkier with the clavinet, just having more texture to it. I find it to be very bluesy, a bit generic at time, but an overall very competent performance and passable song. Probably my least favorite on the collection.
I feel it's a little WBB, White Boy Blues.
Yes. Oh, definitely. That's a very apt description.
The outro piano on it sounds very much like Traffic.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like Stevie Winwood's piano playing. It's very open. Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Very cool. Yeah.
Well, Christine and Steve Winwood went to art school together, as she has mentioned on several occasions.
Yes, they did.
Some other schools. Okay.
Well, Jim, what are your notes on The City?
Yes. The story goes that Bob Welsh's fiance was mugged in New York, and the band was terrified about going out in the streets. And it's kind of some nasty guitar work. I prefer this over Empire State, about the same location. The band certainly picks up on Bob Welsh's mood. I think time is. I like the lyric. I think time is running out. Now, I've never been to New York City. How about any of you guys?
Oh, several times. I go like several times a year.
Yeah, I've performed there a few times.
Is time running out?
New York is the best city in the world. I don't care what anyone says.
Well,
I'm not a fan.
Oh,
I'm more Bob Welsh.
okay. I mean, you hear stories.
Tony's
There's a
Lindsay.
lot of
I'm Bob.
like ethnic areas. You can end up in in China and all these different areas, and you just feel like you're in a different part of the world. And it's the melting pot. I mean, I get that, but uh, there's stories. You might you might not you might end up 6 feet under if you're in the wrong place.
all highly distorted stories. You would go and
Okay.
have a great time.
Yeah,
You know.
I know Memphis is dangerous too in the wrong place at the wrong time. Uh, but you just you know you got to. But I understand the color and the family kind of wants to go at a certain point. We've been some other places, but why haven't we been to New York? Is what my wife says, and I just wonder. And they mentioned like Chinatown and some other things, and just uh, you just got to be there.
Can we say, in all
So
fairness, though, that New York City is much safer than it was in 1973?
Very much so. The crime rate has plummeted. It's dropped more than 30%, especially since 1990, where it was more or less at the peak.
It's also a much less interesting city. I
Yeah,
mean, if you go through Manhattan now, it's been so corporatized.
yeah, it
Um,
commercialized.
I mean, it's been so corporatized. They've moved all the interesting people and all the artists and everything have had to be expelled into the outer boroughs.
right.
You can't afford to live in Manhattan. Um, but yeah, looking at like if you look at subway photographs of New York in the 70s, it was a very different. And I remember my father taking us to New York in the 70s. Um, it was a very exciting place. It still is.
Well, I think around that time, New York City, well, actually, that was a little bit later, but in 1975, there was a famous headline, Fort to City Drop Dead, where the president refused to provide federal funds to a financial crisis that the city was enduring. And obviously, there's a buildup to that. And Bob has since amended his position. I think in a later interview, he said that he revisited the city and had a more positive time there. But his lyrics reflected his sentiments at the time, and they are immortalized here.
All right. Well, any other thoughts on the city? All
All
right.
good.
We are sticking with Bob Welsh, miles
Again,
away. It starts off slow, and then we get into a fast McFleetwood beat,
shuffle. Yeah.
shuffle. Uh, this is kind of where the album starts to meander a little bit for me. Uh, I do like Mount. There's not a song I don't like on this album, but I feel like this is just a little bit more standard for them. What do you guys think of Miles Away?
So
Love
this
it.
song, oh, go ahead.
Love it.
Sorry.
No, no, go for it, Nick.
I was going to say that this song stands out because it was one of the two tracks played for the Midnight Special. And I think that
Oh
their
yeah.
version there was absolutely rocking. And it's notable for Christina McVie playing what I would classify as a bouquet of maracas. I think she probably has 7 or 8 in her hands. I counted. And
Yeah.
there's this one comment that's ingrained in my mind of this one person saying, "Oh my God, Christina McVie looks so miserable with those maracas. She can't bear to be there." It's just so ridiculous. Both the absurdity of the image of Christine McVie going, "Let me go, let me ride," and
I
while
thought
she's
that
just
was
taking those maracas, it's
those.
so amusing
She,
to watch.
that's she puts on a real good vocals on that. That's
Oh,
really good live
great,
there.
great work. Yes. I think it works well live. I think it works well. It's oftentimes, sometimes the passion and the energy isn't captured on record, but I think that they did a decent enough job here for
Yeah.
the studio version. And this was the third, the final of 3 tracks that Bob played or that Bob covered on his what you could call a reworking album. And I can pull up the quote that he mentioned here. So he said that it was just a screamer. It's me being disgusted with pop culture then. And I could say the same thing now. It was me being pissed off at Andy Warhol, reducing the great art of past centuries to everybody's famous for 15 minutes.
You know what? I love this song.
I do. I love this song. I think it's my favorite one on the album.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
It's my favorite song. Lyrically, I think it's one of the strongest songs on the album. His talk singing approach is perfect here with that bass riding underneath it, bubbling underneath it.
Love
Right.
that part.
It's like he could just go on, keep talking, and I would listen to him with that bass underneath it. The guitar work is killer. From what I could tell, it's Bob is handling the riffs, like the heavy riffs, and Bob Welsh and Weston is handling the arty kind of like jazzy fills,
Okay.
and the solo, but it's a great tune, great tune. And the vocals, I mean the harmony vocals. Christine doesn't have a song until a couple tunes later, but her presence on this song and on Somebody is pretty strong.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
That's a good
So I
point.
mean, it's like it does balance out the album.
Yeah.
And I just love it. It's a great up tune. I think it's a killer tune.
I will say that, I talked a little bit of crap about the song, but I've never skipped it. I've never skipped the song. I've never gotten up and said, I don't want to hear that one.
I listen to this. I'll pull out this album just to hear this tune.
Wow.
I mean, that's how much I love it.
What do you think some of Bob's best lyrics are from it? Is there anything you can recite off the top of your head? Or
Don
yeah.
Juan goes up in a cloud of smoke.
All those Hare Krishnas turned out to be a
It turned
joke.
out to be a joke. Yeah.
Restless, restless, restless all the time. Yeah, just that sequence of lyrics, I think that's incredibly strong.
Sliding up and down the surface of this life.
Oh my God,
I mean,
so good.
I mean, there's I think all three of the verses are great. It's and the Warhol quip is great. He might just be dashing it off as a scream, but I think it's pretty subtle too. I think he's got some really good insights there.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I think it's a great tune.
And I know we said this throughout the series, but Bob Welsh really was thinking man's music. Or thinking human music.
Yes.
I mean, when we hear Steely Dan do it, we praise them.
Right.
Here, I mean, it's like this is a great tune, and for what it's worth, the negative review in Rolling Stone, they cited this as one of the good tunes on the album.
Right.
Yeah, they said Miles Away, flat out mood propelled into the domain of the current Savoy Brown by compelling solid rhythm work and Bob Weston's enticingly electric musings on lead guitar. So yes, they indeed were positive on this track.
All right. Is there anyone who didn't go? I apologize. I don't remember. Jim, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, Bob, tell us how you really feel. And Bob takes a handful of cultural entities and he throws them under the bus. He just like, if he means it or not, I don't know. John puts down a superb bass line, a lot of good guitar work here, nice driving song. Not like driving down the road, it's just driving band-wise. I mean, I made a remark in another one of my notes about the Police, the band Police. And a lot of this group here of the Bob Welsh work is kind of like a side of Police. And the Police are, Sting is pretty snarky. That there's a lot of, there's a lot of on the Police records. There's a lot of angst in their work, and I like that. And that's kind of what this side is. I like a bit of a Police record.
That's interesting, Jim. I could hear Sting singing this song and Somebody.
Me too.
Yeah.
I could hear him singing both those tunes.
It's kind of that, angst, and I'm just kind of tired of this, the I don't know about the culture or anything, but just having a little beef with stuff. And a lot of the Police songs are just, and I should start listening to them again because it's kind of the world today is a little bit, there's a lot of conflict going on and it needs to be revisited.
Yeah,
and Walking on the Moon sounds like it could be easily on this album.
Oh God, that's great.
You know what I mean? It's just like it just orally sounds like something from this album. So,
Yeah.
So what's interesting, Tony, is like on side one, you said "Just Crazy Love" sounds like it could be from a few years ahead, and we're saying the same thing with these songs. So it's interesting that "Mystery to Me" really was ahead of its time. And
I bet especially, I don't remember there's like three members of the Police other than Sting. I bet those other two guys listened to this Fleetwood Mac work. Not like it's an influence, it's kind of out of respect, and maybe it's subtly leaked into their work. I don't know. They bet
Robert
they respect.
Christgau, Robert Christgau said that that back in the early '70s, Bob Welch was their secret weapon, and they made spacey, steady-bottomed pop that was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And then he said, and in the '80s, when by the late '70s, early '80s, when their secret weapon was their public, they made spacey, steady-bottomed pop that was a little bit behind its time. Yeah.
that's so great. All right. Well, any other thoughts on "Miles Away"?
Okay.
I would say that actually is a good driving song. It can get you
Yeah.
in the mood. Just don't get caught speeding while
Yeah, don't get
driving
caught
to it.
All right. Well, we're sticking with Bob Welch for one more song, "Somebody." Like Tony said, great Christy McVie harmonies. It really is another song I really could hear the Police doing this. That really stuck with me. This is another one. It doesn't sound like standard Bob Welch fare. Uh, this is just such, he came, I almost feel like, how Christine just showed up with a great collection of songs on Tango? I feel like Bob did that with this album. Like he just showed up with a great, really strong collection of songs. What do you guys think of "Somebody"?
I like it a lot. I don't like it as much as Miles Away, but it's one of those tunes that after I hear Miles Away and I'm all excited and I'm all juiced up, then this comes on and I'm like, all right, I'll listen to it. And then by the end, I'm glad I did.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, so for this album, I did most of the tracks from memory, but I did go back to a couple of songs just to listen to some of the cool production elements and refresh my memory. And this was probably the last song I listened to before we started the podcast. And I dug it then, and then I dug it the first time I heard it. So there's a cool percussion instrument that you hear like one, two, yeah, and beat two. And I'm pretty sure it's a jawbone. You can like boo doo,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's either that or a vibra-slap. And Mick has an affinity for really cool percussion instruments, and they're scattered about, especially starting around the Future Games album.
Right.
Like with Women of a Thousand Years, did some bongos and claves, did some talking drum on the song World Turning, especially on the Say You Will album. There are some really cool percussion figures that he played, especially Everybody Finds Out. There's some cool percussion on Red Rover.
Oh, yeah.
Murrow turning over his grave. And it's present here too. I think there's also what sounds like a maraca being introduced, playing some quarter notes to kind of propel the song even further. And one of my favorite parts is where the song purportedly, or you would think that it drops out, and then there's a 10-second pause or
Right.
so, and then boom.
That's very Christine Perfect album.
yes, from the yes,
Crazy About You Baby. Doesn't that happen on that song?
yeah.
Okay.
Almost in the same way.
Yep. You can't say I'm not a Christine fan for that reference, you guys.
Right.
The song has probably the most complicated chords in the whole album too.
On the album, yes.
Yeah, I mean E flat 9, D ninth, G sevens. I mean, there's a C ninth, which is suspended, and a suspended fourth is in it. I mean, there's all kinds of, I'm looking at the charts right now as I'm talking to you, and I'm like, there's nothing else in the whole music book here that has chords like this.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Well, Jim, what are your notes on this one?
Yes, a very moody, brooding song that the band plays very well. I like the last four songs on here. I like the last four songs here, including this one. They are not exactly your light love song material. I was listening to a lot of Police at this time when I bought this album, and this stretch of music is quite like that. And that band riff.
Sure.
And there's a cool one. There's a Beck album there's a song ends. I think it's Jackass. There's several things. Maybe there's two different things where there's a big old pause and there's a repeated, really weird riff, electronic riff at the end of a Peck album or end of a side or something. So there's, they're just fooling around in the studio and that's what it is. It's just a bass drum. Is there any guitar in that little?
There's some bass, I think, from what I
bass,
remember.
it's a bass drum, and I think that's it.
Well, there's a snare drum, bass, or bass guitar, and there probably is some guitar on there too. Yes.
Okay, it's just a real
palm muted, probably.
It's cool.
All right.
Very cool indeed.
Any other thoughts on somebody? Somebody. No. All right. Well, finally, she's decided to step back up to the microphone. Christine McVie is back. I didn't mind the stretch of Bob, though. I feel like the three songs are so different from each other that it's not. I feel like maybe the next album suffers from a little blurring together a little bit, but I don't feel like that's the case with Mystery here. Way I feel like there's, believe me, Just Crazy Love and Why are three Christine McVie songs that might be in my like top 20, top 10. So the Way I Feel has like a lot of competition on this album. It's probably my least favorite Christine song, but I still like it. I think it's a nice song. What do you guys think of this one?
It's the simplest song on the album.
Yeah.
I mean, chord wise, and just it's a very simple song, but it's very beautifully made.
Yep.
Her voice is beautiful. The guitar is great. I think that recording wise, it could have done with a lot more reverb.
Yeah.
It's pretty dry and it's pretty close up to the mic, but she sounds fantastic. But still, it would have benefited from a bit more reverb, I think.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful little tune. It's about as English as you could possibly imagine. I mean, it's an English folk tune is really what it is.
Do you feel like with some quirky production and some crazy reverb, it could have gone on Tusk?
Yeah, I mean, it's not
Cry.
a far cry from something on Tusk, really.
Yeah.
It's
Never Make Me Cry, Never Forget. It's probably closest to those two songs.
Yep.
Never Make Me Cry.
All right, Jim, what are your notes on The Way I Feel?
Yes, beautiful but sad. Christine has said that she upped her game as a songwriter when Stevie and Lindsay joined the band. I just don't see that. I think she was great then in albums before this. I think that her writing. I think the only difference is like the production values. I mean, it's that Nevi board. The famous Nevi board in Sound City. That just kind of sent them. It just and Tom Petty. I watched that documentary again, and Tom Petty was talking about like the new way recording with just computers, and Tom Petty says, "Where's the knob so I can tweak stuff?" It was kind of cool. So. Just a great little another great Christine song, and I just think her material from Future Games through on this is just as good as the later periods.
I agree.
This production is a little different. I'll say this later after we're done. There's something about another album that's being remastered.
Ooh.
Oh.
Well, but yeah, in terms of her game, I mean, if you look at the White Album, the tunes on this album, and it's certainly the tunes on Heroes, hold up to those.
Yeah.
I mean, I think actually on paper, the tunes on Heroes might even be better on paper. I mean, they're beautiful, sophisticated songs. So I think she's just saying that because those songs made the radio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah.
I think this is a really well done ballad. It's the one pure ballad of Christine's on the album. I mean, believe me, the first few seconds do suggest that, and we get that one taste of it, and then we get the full. Yeah, then it kicks in, but then we get the actual full ballad here. And I'm glad that we do have it because it demonstrates the songwriting capabilities of Christy and how she's able to do a rocker well, because she tried to do it with Homeward Bound for Bare Trees and it returned with mixed results.
Oh,
But she really locked in, especially starting with the Penguin album, in my opinion, and then it
Yeah.
continued into Mystery to Me. And maybe I wouldn't say it peaked and Here's Hard to Find, but I would say that her songwriting there really hit a new stride there too, for that matter. And this is just part of that progression. Love the melody, the chorus is great, the production's very subtle, as is the arrangement with just some light guitar work, primarily piano oriented. I think it's well done. I really like the song.
all right. Well, any other thoughts on The Way I Feel? So picture it. It's 1984. Here's little Jeremy with his lyric sheet, and the next song is For Your Love, but the lyric sheet says, good things come to those who wait.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on here? This isn't For Your Love. And then I went to a secondhand record store, and they actually had a cover. They had the good things listed on the back. So I'm like, oh my God, I found an album that has that other song on it. But then when you looked at the actual album, it was For Your Love. So there were some that with actually the back jacket printed with the song title too, right?
The first pressings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the early pressings, the early editions of the album, because there was a late switch, a last minute cut. And in my opinion, it's for the best. We got the actual recording on one of the reissues from Rhino Records. And I mean, boy, we'll talk about that later. So I'll say my thoughts, but I think that this is a very strong cover of what the Yardbirds did. It's you could certainly call it a modernization with
Yeah.
fuller production. You still have the bongo playing retained from the original to this, just with a different flair. And I think that there's a lot of energy infused. It's a good take that they selected, and I actually do think that it was a decent selection as a single. If we remove, in actuality, maybe the reality that maybe Hypnotized would have performed better had it been issued as a single. Maybe it would have received more airplay.
Right.
Could have became their second single to hit the Hot 100. But oh well, as the band would say.
What was a more tragic B-side in the Fleetwood Mac universe? Silver Springs or Hypnotized?
I think
Hypnotized.
Your Own Way was a perfectly fine single. It was their first top 10, very radio friendly. It received a shorter abridged mixed, and that's fine. I think that this was probably the worst example, and that Hypnotized probably could have been a hit. It would have been a bold move to have the lead single be Silver Springs, as amazing as that song is. I think it still probably would have done okay, seeing that their last three singles hit the top 20 comfortably in the US, but maybe it could have established a different note than what the Rumors album was about. I think Go Your Own Way was pretty representative of what the album had to offer.
And that's, this is a whole nother podcast, which we've already discussed in season 2. But I think nothing beats the 1997 version of Silver Springs.
Exactly. I think the 1977 version of Silver Springs is subpar.
It's fine.
I think
but
I think her voice is, she doesn't know what she's doing with her voice on it. She's all over the place. Tonally, okay. I mean, instrumentally it's pretty, but I think her voice isn't very powerful. She's scratchy on it. And when they come back in 1997 with that, oh my God, it's like a freaking opus. It's like one of the best things ever.
Right.
And her voice,
that wisdom,
perfectly locked in.
Uh-huh.
I mean, so it's like, I remember when they started playing Silver Springs in 1997. I'm like, they're playing this, and all of a sudden she started singing it. I'm like, holy
shit, right?
And then when she turned to him, she's like, but I mean, but that original, they made the right choice not putting it on the album.
That song needed those years of wisdom and experience and hurt to build up and have that release.
But you also needed a faster tune on the album. That I Don't Want to Know is the right tune.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I actually am probably more positive on the studio recording just because they place more value on the instrumentation. And that final chorus is super lush, super powerful. Even though they had made the decision to omit the song, I wouldn't say really early on. It was probably around August or so of 1976, based on accounts from Ken, where he said he did document it. There's some inconsistencies I found, but I think it was around that time where they did so. They were still mixing it just in case if they wanted to do something with the song, and sure enough, they found a use as the B side.
Right.
Do agree that Stevie's voice doesn't have the same wisdom as the live version, but I think that the turn of events worked out well in that people my age, the Gen Zers, especially on the platform TikTok, that clip of Stevie turning to Lindsay and doing that nice little sucker punch figuratively, that the Gen Zers are just eating that up. They absolutely love it because they have an appreciation for the shallow understanding of the Lindsay Stevie dynamic, even though we know that the band is far more than that and hardly lasted in the band's tenure. That's what most casual fans know the band for, having a couple of relationships in the band. And I think that the song serves it well for propelling the band into relevance. So it served its purpose well. Whereas Hypnotize, it received minor airplay. I think that it's a wonderful song and it has a lot of great merits in its own way.
Right. And I feel like no Silver Springs 97, no Daisy Jones in the 6.
Yeah, I mean, Silver Springs '97 really kickstarted Fleetwood Mac into a new generation, like you said, Nick.
Right.
But I mean, ultimately, with Hypnotized, I mean, I was too young, but I had friends. I have friends who grew up in the early '70s, were in high school and stuff, and so that was a very common tune to hear late night on FM stations.
Mhm.
And that they would go to parties and people would be playing that at parties.
Right.
It was not an unknown song. It was a pretty well
Right.
established song, but it was established in rock FM circles.
Yes, definitely.
And in
Well-
'73, FM rock was only beginning. It was really not where it was a few years later.
I mean, so many times in bands' careers, though, they're like, oh, you need to put the cover song on the album so you have a single. Isn't it weird that for Fleetwood Mac to have that happen to them in 1973? Because look
That's
at,
what
like,
the label suggested. Yeah.
can you imagine, like, a cover version on, like, Penguin, Future Games, or Bare Trees? You know, I know there were some covers on Kiln House, but that was more of an homage to the, you know, the era was referencing more than looking for a hit single, I feel like.
So, Jeremy, you're forgetting. I'm a road runner.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Cancel the damn podcast.
I don't think the label wanted that.
I don't think they wanted that song, but
Cancel the
from what Bob
podcast.
Welch recounted in one interview or another, he said that the label said, "We don't hear a single on here. Come up with something." And Bob Weston liked the song. He was a big fan of the Yardbirds. That's the
Okay.
story that Bob Welch told. And again, I will reiterate,
Yeah.
on paper, it's a good idea as a single. It's just that Hypnotized found that niche and it had more of staying power. That's just how it happened to be. The obvious single might not, turn out to have the longest legacy. It might be some of those unexpected songs like Hypnotized that sticks around.
Who did like the 90s dance version of For Your Love? Wasn't there like a stock Aiken Waterman version? No. No one. Nope. Okay. I guess I'll have to find that on my own. All right.
So,
Jim, did you have notes on For Your Love?
Yes, I thought the opening guitar riffs were out of this world when I first heard it on the radio. It's kind of like this came from the moon or something. This is so wild. It has a lot of space in it. Just that, just awesome. And a nice West Coast update to the Yardbirds classic, John McPhee's killer bass line. I love the midpoint bridge where Christine plays. The band put their full arsenal on the single, and it didn't chart, but I noticed it. I thought, when I heard it, I said, "Man, the band, the musicianship, is great." I mean, it's kind of jumps around a lot, but you know the Beach Boys did that too. But this didn't kick anywhere. For the like Hypnotize, I consider that a hit, but it just smolders and it goes smolders and smolders and it keeps being played, and we probably can hear it on some radio even today. So It's so this is nothing wrong with this. It just didn't hit.
So I'm redeeming myself on this podcast. It was not in my imagination. If you thought the Fleetwood Mac cover of For Your Love was questionable,
No.
Apollonia's cover from 1989.
Okay.
It's yeah. All right, back to this podcast. Any other thoughts on For Your Love?
It's super polished. I feel like we talked a little bit more about Silver Springs than we did about For Your Love, and even Hypnotized for that matter on this
Right.
segment. That kind of got second life. But I think that the production here is very polished. Well, seeing that they probably knew that this would be the single, perhaps they did put some additional last minute attention into it. It just does feel a little bit separated from the rest of the album to a certain extent.
I feel like it's missing the quirk.
It has some quirks here and there where you have the doom, 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 where you go into the well, it's not really halftime, but the different feel of the song.
Like a middle bridge.
It's the bridge, yes, correct.
I think it fits in with the album very well sonically. I just am not. I think that they should have stayed with all originals. To me, it doesn't really make sense to me. I understand that the label wanted a hit, but it's like most corporate decisions. It wasn't I don't think it was the right decision.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. I mean, I don't hate it. I'll play it through when it goes on.
It's kind of like in the Rumors era, the first single released was it charted pretty good, but there was always a super hit like Dreams. Was Dreams second on
Dreams
Rumors?
was second, yes, correct.
And,
well, in the US, I think Don't Stop may have been the second single in the UK. They had an unusual order.
And like on Say You Will, why'd they put that as a record, a single? And it's just pretty vanilla. There's a lot of real quirky, good stuff on Say You Will, and some great Stevie stuff, and there's some good Lindsay stuff. But Say You Will's just like a bland pop radio thing, and they did it live and stuff, and they try to promote it.
Remember her lasso dance?
Oh,
yes. Say you will, say you will.
Okay.
I want to see a Bob Welsh lasso dance. That's what I want to see. But I think that For Your Love. I mean, it wasn't bad. It's just to me, it was like I would have much rather have heard good things on this.
I mean, they sound like a bar cover band to me. And
to me, it kind of cuts the original. It cuts away at the originals that are there.
Yeah.
But I disagree a little bit with that. I think it's a very competent, more than competent cover that has the polish that you would lack with a bar band. I mean, when you have the rhythm section of John McVie and Mick Fleetwood, they're leagues beyond really any run-of-the-mill drummer and bassist. So I think they alone propel it. And then the guitar solo, super strong from Bob Weston. I think a lot of the components are indeed there, just a difference of opinion.
I just don't like the song.
I like the song too. I like the songcraft. I like the cover of it. I like the original. But even
the original, I love too much. I think that's.
I don't like the original.
I love the original.
The only one I like is Apollonia's version.
But do you really think? Let's say they decided to keep Good Things Come. What do you think would have been the single? I don't see it being Hypnotized. Just Crazy Love could have been.
It was again. I don't think Just Crazy Love would have been. I don't think radio was ready for it. I mean, it's just like it's pop wise, it's got a good tune, but where would you put it? Would it be an AM radio, FM? They need a couple of years.
So yeah, I mean, I'm sure they would have selected something. They have pretty much done one single per album, albeit with little promotion in many cases for the earlier material, especially from Kiln House to Heroes Are Hard to Find. I mean, Hypnotized, that would have in hindsight been a good selection, but would they have necessarily gone with that as the A side? I mean, they decided to pretty much rule out the possibility of it being an A side by putting on a B side. I mean,
Believe Me is the single. I would have put Believe Me as the single and just.
If they cut out the piano intro, it probably would have been more accessible. I like it on the album, but maybe it would have been, or they could have maybe done some sort of introduction with the DJ, and then for the kickoff, they'll do then they start. Yeah.
But there's other times in music history where the B side starts to take off Start
I Will
promoting it as the
Survive.
A. Yeah, start promoting it as the A side. Once Hypnotized started getting the FM radio traction, the record company should have gotten behind it, and then it could have
Yeah,
been the single.
could
That's
have
what I
been.
think
Yeah.
should have happened.
Well, they didn't get a chance because the tour was cut short. This album
Right.
Oh,
really
okay. Yeah.
promoted the way it could have been. And I think, if I was Welsh, I understand why Welsh was pissed off because I mean it's like, after a while it's like, come on, I want to promote this. I'm proud of it, and it didn't happen. So, and the next thing he finds out, there's another band.
Right. The fake Fleetwood Mac.
That's a
And I don't
priority.
know about you, but the more I read about that and the more throughout the years, I've never trusted Mick Fleetwood's role in that.
Oh yeah, it's
I've
super
never
shady.
trusted that he was, and there's even a postcard from John McVie
Yes, exactly.
telling Clifford, "How's the new band working out?" It's like, it's like it's so damning, and so I could picture Bob Welsh being pissed off.
Yeah.
It sounds like the Epstein files
No.
going
The
on there.
the Fleetwood Files.
Yeah, we
We
got to
will
get
talk
Congress.
about that. Well, not
We got to
Epstein,
get
but
the
we'll talk
FBI or the
about
Justice
the flake.
Department on this.
Uh, but we could talk about the fake Fluid Mac story a lot with Heroes Are Hard to Find because that very much dictates the history of that album.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, we are down to the last track on the album. I remember when I was a kid, there's just a really long damn guitar solo. Like this
Mm-hmm.
slide thing, I'm like, you know what? It did kind of lose me. But then I revisited this album. I'm like, oh my God, this is the best Christine McVie song that she wrote ever. And
There, it's one of them.
I don't cover a lot of music in my own music career, but I did play Y a lot in my early sets. This is my. It was interesting because someone on the ledge is like, "Oh, I don't want to see the Mystery to Me podcast because I feel like you don't like Y," and I don't know where I ever said that because this is one of my favorite. If I had to do my top 5 favorite Christine McVie songs, this might be number 1, honestly, if not in the
Wow.
top 3. I think I don't love Weston's guitar solo. I kind of wish maybe it was its own little instrumental track, and then it went in because I think this is such a masterpiece. And if this version's good, talk about that 75 version where Stevie and Lindsay put the harmonies on. There's 2 different mixes. There's one where Stevie's voice is too high, but then there's a second mix where they get the balance between the 3 just right. And I just rewind that over and over and listen to that ending. It's just the absolute magic of Fleetwood Mac.
It
But
was
I still
freaking
love,
real.
yeah, I still love the album version too, though. So all I have to say is Christine McVie, one of her masterpieces. What do you guys think of this one?
Yeah.
I think it's cinematic. The arrangement is truly cinematic. Having the long intro with the slide guitar, which is perfect, there, and then having that drum. And
Oh my
Christine was
God.
talking about this once, and he said that a Mick stood at the top of the stairs in Benefolds and hit this huge gong drum or this huge bass
Oh,
drum. It gives you the boom, boom, and and it's just so cinematic. All the touches in it, and I'm not a huge arps string ensemble person, but I think in this particular song they do a very good job with the arrangement on it, and it's I think it's really truly cinematic, and every bit of it fits together, including the very long outro.
yeah. I love that
Um,
outro.
It's
yeah.
very strong. A good way to end the album.
All right,
And in terms of live versions, though, my favorite is from 1974.
really?
Hearing, you get to hear what a great guitarist Welsh is on it.
Okay. You have to refresh on that.
All right, Jim, what are your notes on why?
Yes, Bob Weston is credited with the slide guitar work on the intro. Christine sings and plays beautifully on this. Great string work on this too. The ending lyrics are like a prayer. It just has that, you know. And this song became a live staple during the Buckingham Nicks era in Fleetwood Mac. And when they sing that chorus together at the end,
Whew.
live, and it's real because all 3 of them I mean Mick too, and the whole friggin' band was going through all that relationship stuff, where it was. I mean, this could end the professional career if everything blew up.
Yeah.
And they really did love each other, but they just couldn't live with each other. And you can just tell in that live version that there was. It's kind of like a prayer. We just hope this works out. We just, we're just. They're getting material wealth and everything. I think it was more than that, to stay together. And it just sticks with you, that live version where they're the three vocalists
Yeah.
together, and so real.
And I know we mentioned this earlier, but Christine said that her songwriting hit her stride with the White Album. Why is every bit as strong as anything on
Yeah.
Rumors or
Definitely.
the White
Mhm.
Album. In fact, I would say I prefer Why over Songbird. I know that might be a hot
I
take, but
agree. I agree with that.
yeah. So Nick, what are your thoughts on this one?
So when Kristen McVie died, when I learned that she died, Songbird was not the first song I played of hers. It was Why. And that, and I think As Long as You Follow, those were the two songs in particular that I just kept going back to, just because I felt that they captured the essence and spirit of both the moment and then the peak of her songwriting. I think it's just a gorgeous tune. There are points where I do just fast forward Bob Weston's intro. I think that it does serve a purpose, but the actual meat of the song, it's unparalleled. It's beautifully written, beautifully sung. The lyrics are devastating. The hurt I feel will simply melt away. That's just a devastating lyric.
Right.
And then you don't have to give up that section with harmonies that would later come in, both on the studio version and then the live version. That component's terrific too. There aren't too many weak portions other than maybe the intro. Bob Weston mentioned that it was probably his favorite moment, his favorite contribution for Fleetwood Mac, just creating that. And I think when that's the weakest part of the song, you know that it's just a wonderful package.
Yeah, sure.
Well, Bob Weston did say that he actually arranged the guitar on the inside,
Yes.
like the the guitar solo.
Oh, okay.
That
And
part.
he said he felt that he deserved an arranger's credit on it.
Mhm.
So
And
Said it
Lindsay
was
did
his
play
biggest
that.
regret.
Lindsay played that note for note when they redid the song live.
I mean, you kind of have to. It's
Yeah.
a key component of the song. You can't really interpret, or you can't interpolate it too much.
All right. Oh, whoops. Any other thoughts on Why?
It was a good selection to play live, and I think it embodies Christine's career wonderfully. I
Yeah.
think if there are a few songs that Christine McVie should be remembered for, I would put this probably in the top 5. I mean,
Sure.
most people would probably overlook it. They'll say, "Oh, Little Lies everywhere," and Christine has so many amazing songs that I wouldn't argue with any of them.
Sure.
But Why? I mean, come on, you can't go without this one.
Yeah. All right, so we have one more little thing to talk about here. When this box set came out, we finally got to hear the song that was on the lyric sheet, and they never reprinted the lyric sheet with the For Your Love lyrics, did they?
I think on later editions they must have done so. Yeah, I'm almost positive.
See, I bought
my
the album-
edition
never
does have it.
reprinted the lyrics for "For Your Love" on the. They
No.
never reprinted them.
I bought it in '84, and the good thing lyrics were still on there.
What they
Oh, were
would
they?
do
Okay.
is sometimes not include the.
Good Things lyrics.
No, they
Okay.
wouldn't include the lyric sheet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. But in my '84 purchase, it was in there. And I'm like, what the hell is this? But we finally got to hear the song on this box set. It's interesting because you can't hear it digitally, and the only thing on YouTube is a rip that someone did like of a stereo on a shitty speaker. So this song really is a rarity.
Okay.
What do you guys think of Good Things? It very
Yeah,
much has the
sorry.
beat. It has like the beat of Bad Loser, right?
Yes, it does.
I call it a dry run for the ideas that went into Bad Loser.
Right.
But I mean, really, if you want to hear Good Things as it,
Should have been.
in a much more polished fashion, you have to go to
Three Hearts, right?
Three Hearts and hear what do you call Don't Wait Too Long,
Right. Yep.
which is where you have that there. Here, it just sounds like he's shouting. his voice sounds noticeably hoarser. It just sounds like he's doing a dry run through, and they just decided
Yeah,
not
yeah.
to follow up on it.
And then Christine's like throwing, I don't even know what she's saying. She's like, ooh, like what?
Yeah, she sounds like a ghost. Like you want to know.
You ought to know or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. It's a really weird oddity. I'm so glad to have heard it. And after all these years of wondering what it was, I guess I think we can all agree it wouldn't have made the album stronger. But maybe Tony, you felt it should have been on there instead of For Your Love, right?
Yeah, I don't think it made it worse. I don't think, you know what I mean. I just think it just keep the album all original material. But I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean,
Doesn't matter.
it wouldn't have been my favorite song either way you look at it.
Right.
Whereas Bad Loser is my favorite song on Heroes.
Really?
So I mean, we'll talk about that when we get to Heroes, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's Bad Loser is an amazing tune, I think. It works on every level. And this one just, and I think part of it is because they don't know what to do with it vocally. They don't it hasn't really gelled yet. It's
So truly, good things do come to those who wait till the next
Yeah.
album.
True. Very true.
Jim, any notes on good things?
Yes, I was listening to. I mean, you saw I listened this just the last couple days, and Jeremy just put this in the message out to everybody to remind them to it's tonight, and it reminds me of a song by the Black Keys called "Howling for You." Somewhat, especially the vocal. It's a very distorted vocal. The Black Keys do a really raw kind of sound to their music, and it kind of reminded me. My son was playing music. We went down to Atlanta, and he was playing a few Black Keys, and I said, "Well, this song reminds me of something." Oh, yeah, it's that Black Keys song.
No.
Okay, all right, and it's a very raw, unfinished track. It sounds like just drums and guitars and a little harmonica. It's more Peter Green than what is on Mystery to Me. It would have been interesting if this track was fleshed out. This was pretty raw, pretty It was almost like this was like the third run through of a band trying new material. It's very just unpolished, and Christine's throwing in a vocal, Mick's playing this little plump 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 stuff, and it was just raw. And that's how probably most songs are started. Is they just the guitar player would be playing and singing, and the drummer would kind of come in there and, well, I'll try this, and that's kind of what this is. It's just a little trying. And if it was fleshed out, it probably would have turned out to be something pretty interesting. Who knows? So it's out there.
It's interesting though because this album is pretty polished overall. I wonder if this is as far as the song got developed. If they felt it was done, and this is the version that was on nearly that final master.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think they decided to drop it before finishing it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
I
very.
think the core of it's there, but I don't think that
So they printed the cover artwork pretty early in the process then.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
all the things they had already gotten their work published. They have to get the work going through the
Sure.
publishers and stuff, and so
Nick, any further thoughts on this one?
I will echo a lot of the sentiments mentioned here in that it feels very, very unbaked. And I'm surprised that they even considered the idea of releasing the song, especially in this state. Although I do think that Tony's hypothesis of they just abandoned it and that they needed to submit the song listing early and they just decided to drop it and then put all their attention into For Your Love. I think that is probably most plausible because I cannot see them being satisfied with Good Things being released in this state on the Mystery to Me album. I'm sure that they would have provided additional attention to bring it closer up to snub with the other tracks.
Right.
I mean, they did a couple of overdubs here and there, so they clearly did put some effort into it. There are overdubs of Tambourine I mean, it's still skeletal though,
Oh
and
yeah.
I think that the version that appeared on Bob Welch's solo album, while still sparse, does feel like it belongs on a studio album,
Right.
whereas the outtake does not.
All right,
This is
friends. Go ahead,
this is
Jim.
kind of like Stevie's demos for the early versions.
Smile at
Just
you.
I would say that those
well,
versions are somewhat better. I mean, the
well,
1982 version of "Smile at You," a lot of fans think that's superior than what appeared on "Say You Will." I like
oh,
both of them.
well, yeah. The the early stuff on "Smile at You," that's so raw and emotional. And Lindsay, I think Lindsay killed it on. He murdered it on. Say, that's my
See,
opinion.
I feel like
He,
the Say You Will version is the best one.
I
it's
like the
good. I mean,
pitter patter percussion on it quite a bit. It's almost metronomic in terms of the click,
but
click, click.
it's
I
kind of
like
like
Jim
it.
John's bass.
It's kind of
Yeah,
like
great.
it's like the origin of something on Say You Will. That's the real one for me.
Okay.
And I mean, it's polished and everything on Say You Will, but the real story. That's
All
the
right.
thing.
So, Mr. To Me, my friends, we
Well,
sadly
I will
only.
say one thing, and
Yeah, go
that
ahead.
Artistry to me is the last album that the band made where in this it was last studio album made in England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is it. This is the yeah.
Well, I think Christine McVie reportedly did record her tracks for the Time album in
Yeah,
England.
but come
She
on.
was.
Oh,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I was just being
Yeah,
a
come
little
on.
pedantic. Yeah, I know. Come on.
I mean,
well,
it's really this is the last album where the band worked in England, and it's in many ways you can hear it. I mean, it's like the from that point on that the attitude was different.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
seems like their predecessors, it was an album made of a bunch of musicians sitting around a house and
Mm-hmm.
home spinning an album in very impressive, polished way, but that it is very much independent of the industry.
yeah.
Very much so.
And that later, a lot of their albums seem to be much more connected to the
To the
industry
industry. Yeah.
or reacting to it.
Well, that's the case with
Right.
Mirage. Even Tango in the Night, I would say that it does have a lot of the 80s polish, but it was
Oh,
somewhat
sure.
doing its own thing to a certain extent. And they were still progressive, especially with the Tusk album, too, with Lindsay's songs.
Yeah, reacting to it. Reacting to
Well, it's also reacting to the punk movement. I will give you
Yeah.
that, yes.
yeah, but like reaction against reaction. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, what do we give Mr. To Me on a scale of 1 to 10?
Hmm.
You all rate differently than I do.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of nines across the board. I mean, I guess in terms of Fleetwood Mac albums, I would give this like within the Fleetwood Mac structure, I would say probably I'd give this like an 8.5 or a 9.
Okay.
But as a normal album, just like in the world, I would probably give this like an 8.
All right. Jim Miller.
Yes. 9.4.
Just proved our points. And I'll
Nick.
do it again with I think 9.3 is actually a pretty fitting of it. I'm pretty sure I gave Penguin a higher score and I maybe do enjoy the album more. I mean, it's difficult, but I think that a lot of the tracks are strong. I think that the sequencing does work pretty well. Having two consecutive Christine McVie tracks works well. I think that maybe there is a bit of a stretch where you have three very bluesy Bob Welch tunes, but they do work together well. So I'd be fine with a 9.42, actually. Not a 9.42, but a 9.4 as well.
Well, I feel
Okay.
like somewhere in the sky there's a database showing like how many times did Jeremy pull this album out and listen to it. And I bet this album got pulled out more than Penguin, maybe more than Rumors, sometimes more than Mirage. So this is an album that I've listened to a lot. I love the Christine McVie songs. Why is probably my favorite Christine McVie song. Hypnotize is on this album. 9.5 for me.
Okay. Great.
So
We're very harsh, obviously. We're very objective, too.
I don't
I
listen.
mean, I would
Yeah.
have given it higher. It's just I don't like the sonics on it.
right.
In a couple of places, the sonics work beautifully, but the rest of the time, it could go with more reverb. It needs to get a little bit more away from the speakers. Yeah, it's
Well, I have
I
a
agree on
couple.
those points. Yes.
I have a couple questions to ask you guys before we log off. So let me sign off, stop the recording, then we'll talk for 1 second. All
Okay.
right. Thank you to my Patreon subscribers. Thank you, my friends. I'm sorry I know you don't want to hear my schedule, but it's just been wild lately. And I just don't
Well,
want to
thanks
cancel
for doing
anything.
this.
Yeah. So we have 2 Fleetwood Mac albums left. Then we've done the whole discography. We will be back next month. Thank you, everybody.